When you travel, every meal is eating out, since you're going to be away from your kitchen. This can be delightful, difficult, amusing, or downright annoying, but somehow we have to figure out how to keep ourselves fed. Let's chat about it. Hello and welcome back to the Armchair Traveler. My name is Judy. I love to travel. I do this on my own, and so can you. I'm here to teach you how. I love to eat. I love to cook. I happen to think one of the biggest ways to understand people is to see what they eat and how they prepare it. Let's face it, we're all going to have to do this. The trick to eating successfully while you're traveling without breaking the bank or bursting your belt is to know your preferences and then act on them. The way I see it, there are three options with plenty of overlap. Generally, what you learn by researching one option, for example, finding restaurants to dine out for every meal, applies to all the others. I use all three options depending on my circumstances. Let's take a look and see how to go about this. Dining out every meal isn't for me, but it might be for you. I've heard the complaint I've been cooking for half a century and I need a vacation. So sometimes people do want to dine out. If you want to try the local cuisine or didn't make it to the market or just too tired to go out, you might want to think about eating in your hotel room. Let's visit Bayeux, France. Bayeux is home to the famous Bayeux Tapestry, a lovely cathedral, the Bayeux War Cemetery, a splendid memorial, and much more. It's also a great spot for exploring this part of Normandy by train. I visited here in 2013. I had a wonderful time, such a wonderful time that it's on my bucket list of places to revisit. Apartment hotels weren't very common in 2013, so the hotel I used here had no cooking amenities. I stayed in a lovely older hotel and thoroughly enjoyed my visit. It had a great bed, a wonderful shower with plenty of hot water, excellent Wi-Fi, and a very kind reception staff. What it didn't have was any way to do food prep in the room, not even a coffee maker, much less a microwave. Even though I couldn't cook, that didn't mean I had to eat out 3 times a day. A person could wing it with this, but I don't have a winging it kind of disposition. The first steps are to pick a hotel, then look at a map and check out the possibilities. Let's see how it played out in practice. This is a Google Map view of Bayeux. There are plenty of hotels, as you can see. If you want some help on how to use Google Maps as a research tool, go back to my video blog on situational awareness. I circled the hotel as well as two important must-see sites, the Cathedral and the Tapestry Museum. The good news is that the place I stayed in back in 2013 is still in business. A successful visit that lasts overnight or more always starts with finding a suitable hotel. Google Maps isn't the only way to search, however. This time, let's try a different approach. This is TripAdvisor. I fired up TripAdvisor and searched for hotels in Bayeux, France. The hotel I used in 2013 is still there. A quick glance at the landing page for the hotel shows you the name of the hotel with a tiny locator map, a list of popular amenities, and a list of things to see. It's a pretty comprehensive introduction, but we're going to need to see more. One real advantage of doing your research online is that a lot of things are hyperlinked to more information. Instead of riffling madly through a guidebook or flipping through a map, if you look in the section in the hotel, it might or might not mention whether the hotel has a restaurant. You can see it shows up here once you click on See All to bring it up. And there it is. Breakfast is available. I did a little digging and found out that it's €13 per person. The decor theme here at this hotel is mostly wood, with what I suspect might be false beams, along with lots of photos of the famous tapestry. Just beyond the property, you can see a small park outside those windows. I grew up on a farm and I become extremely grumpy if I don't get my breakfast. I promised myself when I retired that I would be able to have my coffee, eat my breakfast, and read the newspaper in peace. I see no reason why I should give these things up just because I'm on the road, and I didn't. I think this is the all-purpose option when I'm traveling. Sometimes I eat out, other times I combine restaurants and carry-out food, still other times I cook. Let's talk about eating out sometimes. You'll remember in our example, we had breakfast covered. The next question is, what about lunch? I don't believe TripAdvisor has exhausted its usefulness quite yet. Let's take a second look. When I scrolled down in that hotel listing, I found an expanded list of other information, including restaurants. Number 2 on that list was the Cour de Sushi. Now, I know sushi might seem like an odd choice when you're in France, but trust me, when you make a road trip, sometimes you're going to be sick of local cuisine or you just want something simple. A check of Google Maps tells me it's 6 minutes from the hotel. When you scan through a listing, it's important to see exactly how many reviews there are. If there's only two or three, it's possible the place is brand new. The other possibility is it's so terrible that no one goes there. This one had 274 reviews on the day as I checked. The next thing is to check to see what the reviews said, and in this case, it's number 2 on TripAdvisor's ranked hotel list in Bayeux, and pretty much everyone seemed to love it. There's a short list of details and even a website. Let's see what else this listing can tell us. When you look at the detail list for this restaurant, you'll see the price range and even more features. Among other things, there's a bar, they accept some credit cards, and they have takeout. Always check the fine print. This particular restaurant doesn't happen to be open on Sunday and Monday, which isn't uncommon, but nonstop open on all the other days. The final check was of the website. When I looked, I found a message that said, we're having trouble finding that site. That just might be because the server was down. It also might mean they've gone out of business, although the posting still seems to give hours. Because this is always a possibility, and sometimes you might get the munchies in the middle of the night, always have a backup plan in case your plan falls through. Even though you're staying in an apartment hotel, you might choose to limit yourself to carry-out food. Or you may decide you want to cook. It's your option. You're going to need some supplies. You research sources exactly the same way you look for lunch. There's always carry-out, as we saw from the Cour de Sushi. There are also local markets and supermarkets, many of which have at least some carry-out foods available. Look at the map. Use the information in your app. Read the fine print. Seek out places in advance, but keep in mind that since the pandemic, probably hundreds of small businesses have gone out of business, so plan to be flexible. I find the prospect of eating my carry-out off of a piece of greasy wrapping paper completely demoralizing. Opinions vary, but to me, appearance counts. Going shopping suggests you're going to need something to hold your haul. I recommend a lightweight foldable shopping bag, although you can still generally get recyclable plastic in Europe. You may opt for something nicer than paper, dishes of some variety, and something neater than just your fingers to eat with. On the left, you see the camping mess kit I acquired in 2013. It worked out fairly well, but it could have been better. In particular, nothing sealed together and the cup didn't collapse, so you couldn't store your food in it. As I recall, it did keep my coffee hot practically forever. In the photograph, you can see the empty tube of Taster's Choice instant coffee. Not quite visible was an immersion heater with a power converter so I wouldn't burn it out. I would not do that again. 2013 was a long time ago. On the right is just one of the thousands of items that came up when I asked Mr. Amazon what was available. The cup collapses to fit inside, the utensils tie onto the top, and the plate and bowl have a silicone seal so that if you want, you could actually store something in there. You can always drink your adult beverage out of a bathroom glass. I know this because I've done it. But I generally try to find something a little nicer to use. Many supermarkets and any department store you're apt to come across will sell you a single glass, often even in plastic. Nose around a grocery store anywhere in France and you'll also come across screw-top wine bottles. Some people are really prejudiced against that product because it used to be an indicator of low quality, but I've found that isn't the case anymore. Price is your indicator of quality, and the upside is that if you get one, you eliminate the need for a corkscrew. Set yourself a price limit, not very high, but not too cheap. Look for something with a screw top and enjoy your beverage. If you decide you can't live without a corkscrew, look near the same place where you found the dishes in any grocery store or department store, or ask at a wine shop. If you decide to bring one from home, be sure to put it in your checked baggage. It'll set off every detector at the airport if you don't. I recommend buying one locally, then ditching it at the end of the trip. Whether you plan to dine in on carryout or you plan to cook, you're going to have to find a place to buy some food. I'm a huge fan of old-fashioned central markets, but I admit I also use supermarkets as much as I can. In Bayeux, I found a Carrefour City about an 8-minute walk from the hotel. Going shopping on the road is exactly like going shopping at a new store at home. The first time you enter a shop, expect to spend a little bit of time scoping out the lay of the land. Things aren't always where you might look first. Deli-style foods like prepared sandwiches and salads are often in the front, near the checkout registers. Eggs are not refrigerated. They're safe because of the way they're processed. Many Europeans are big into shelf-stable milk. You might find some cold milk in the refrigerator case with the cheese, butter, and yogurt, but you're far more likely to find it on an unrefrigerated shelf, often near the water or soda. Here are a few final tips to round out and I hope make your shopping experience better. Pick a market that's close to your hotel. Remember, you're likely to have to carry your supplies home, and trust me, they get heavy fast. Take along a shopping bag. It just makes things simpler. Unless you have a kitchen with a refrigerator, just buy one day's worth of food. This photo shows a really smart trick. Put whatever you're thinking about buying into the shopping bag as you go, not at the end. This way you won't overshop. Pay close attention to sizes. Things like olive oil and dish soap only seem to come in huge sizes. Remember, you're probably going to have to be abandoning things for the next guest. This was supper in a hotel where I had to bring my own utensils and couldn't do any real food prep. Everything came from the Carrefour. I had a slab of pate and some celery remoulade for my starter. Then there was a mini quiche in that triangular-shaped bowl, a miniature apple pie — Normandy is famous for its apples — some bread, and a rosé wine. The wine came with a cork. The Aleve came from home along with the corkscrew, and the Aleve was for my knee, which was giving me fits. This was what I was able to accomplish 3 stops later when I stayed in an apartment hotel in downtown Nantes. There was another Carrefour Express just a couple of blocks away. On the left is my hall. You'll see that a lot of it is prepared. On the right is my finished supper. Some of the food was carry out, heat and eat, but the pork chop was something I cooked myself. I went to sleep well fed and happy. Thank you for walking with me today and visiting the Armchair Traveler. Remember to like and subscribe to this channel. If you'd like to dig deeper, some of my video blogs have more information on my WordPress site. The address is armchairtraveler2022.wordpress.com. You can also follow me on Twitter, where my handle is @armchair2022.